I don't think Harry feels any remorse. And I think that is the key thing in all this reconciliation. He still thinks that he's owed an apology from Charles and from William for the way they've treated not only him but also Meghan. And he doesn't want to realise that it's his behaviour, his writing for money, being so unbelievably disloyal, that has caused and aggravated the problem.
Well, that won't be coming, will it?
The Daily Mirror is absolutely determined to suggest that Harry and his chances of returning to the United Kingdom hinge completely on managing to win over King Charles and Queen Camilla, because he knows that Prince William will end up banishing him. But of course, what's so troubling amongst all of this is that Harry's last hope actually hinges on a future King William. Now, two absolute veteran royal authors, Robert Jobson and Tom Bower, came together over the weekend. And it was a fascinating discussion to see these big beasts in royal reporting try and cut through whether there actually is truth in the mainstream media reporting of Harry's return. So first up, Tom Bower made it clear that Prince Harry is desperate to return. Watch.
Harry is desperate to get back, one way or another. Meghan couldn't care two hoots.
Amen. She's selling her booze.
She's in California. She doesn't want to come back here. Yeah. She's got what she needed. She's got a title. The C-rated actress is now a global star. She's got everything, and money. Yeah. So for her, and that's what's so interesting, is the division.
Yes.
And of course, people always say, well, can the marriage last? I think Harry is so devoted to his children that the thought of not having
and he wouldn't see them really. That's
exactly.
The point.
No, there's no way she would allow them.
So he is now he's between a rock and a hard place. That's his fate.
Does it not annoy you though? Because you're absolutely right. She couldn't care less if she came back here. But doesn't it annoy you that she's trying to sell tea and scones and she's got her royal crest? I mean, isn't there a contradiction
she'll look at anything there that will make the money. I mean, she's simply, she's got a brass neck, as we would say. She really doesn't bother. She can see this way. She's probably looked at the king selling selling the Dutch originals for charity and all that sort of stuff, and thought, well, and it's almost, you look at the actual the logos and everything, it looks almost like the stuff from the Dutch originals. No, she doesn't. She's on her own route.
Lauren Lunn Farrow has been shaping mainstream media narratives as one of the country's top entertainment PRs for the past 20 years, but she is now a media critic and strategist, posting on Instagram under Lauren Lunn Farrow, and it is brilliant to have her with us today. So do you agree with Tom Bower, Lauren, that there does seem to be a very clear strategic split when it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? So Markle, even though, as you have in the past pointed out, even though her business is hardly flying, and we'll come to that very shortly, at the end of the day, she still sees her path to becoming a billionaire in Hollywood. Whereas for Harry, he's got nothing to do. Nothing has worked. He is now completely at a loose end, hence this desperation to sort of return to what he's always known, and actually, deep down, what he really loves, which is being the royal prince.
Yeah, I think he probably was on a high when he was able to talk up, his truth and everything after leaving the royal family, do his book, do the show. But now he's thought, well, what else is there? So he's got his Invictus Games. But Meghan, on the other hand, she just wants to try everything. Biscuits one week, edible flowers the next, shortbread, tea, wine. She's like a loose cannon.
But as a PR, you must be looking at this being like, why is she not listening to anyone? Like, there's no strategy behind what she's doing.
You're right, there is no strategy, because I was looking into everything they've done and I thought, who are you trying to appeal to? You know, we have children in this country who are going to breakfast clubs. We have parents who are working 3-4 jobs to pay the bills, and the same is going on in America.
Yeah,
And
this
you
is
are
not
selling
a good
us.
time.
This is not a time to be selling a very expensive rosé, to be selling a show that is skipping through your kitchen, everything's so neat, and these organic ingredients. This is so out of touch with reality, and I think this just really shows you how toxic Los Angeles is. And I would also like to say that with her jams, she said that she thought for such a long time, how can I scale up these jams? All my friends love these jams. Have you ever heard Meghan Markle talk about her love of jam? I haven't.
No, it's bullshit. It's a
It's
scam
absolute
jam.
bullshit.
The whole thing
It
is
is
a scam jam. And by the way, we're not even meant to call it jam. It's actually a spread. And I did want to move on to that now, actually, Lauren, because I know you have lots of doubts about exactly what Meghan is saying in regards to her business, right? Like, is she actually telling the truth? Does she really have the resource? And what's very interesting is Tom Bower says absolutely not. He claims that she does not have the resources, even if she did want to launch these products properly. So I'll get your reaction after we see what he has to say.
Has resources. You see, to actually launch a brand with all these different products, you need a huge amount of money. You need tens of millions of dollars. And what we're seeing is that she can't find a financial backer. So I think what's happened is that she's launched these products in the hope that somebody will come along and say, there's money in this, let's support Meghan and her as ever brand.
Oh, so hence the sold out.
Well, that's also distribution
Is that what you
failure,
think?
isn't it?
No, it's not distribution failure. She hasn't got the money to make it in the first place.
Yeah.
You see, she's made 50 jars of jam.
Yes.
Well,
They're sold out. Yeah.
They're sold out because she gave them away.
Right.
But the real problem is if you want to make 50,000 jars, you need to have millions of dollars. She hasn't got the money for it. And what's interesting is that there isn't a CEO, there's no chief executive of the As Ever brand to actually develop her products. So there she is with all these ideas, but in the end, it all boils down to herself as the brand. So there's Gwyneth Paltrow and Martha Stewart and the Kashadins, but who is Meghan? And that is the problem. And therefore, who is the brand? So what we're really seeing is a sort of forlorn, ridiculous woman trying terribly, terribly hard. But you must give her credit for one thing. You never see her ever forlorn. You never visibly see the defeated Meghan.
Right.
And that's what's so interesting about her. I have great admiration for her strength. The strength of purpose, it may be misdirected, it is. Yeah. But my God, is she a fighter and survivor.
Now, that's actually quite fascinating because I've never heard Tom Bower say a positive word about Meghan Markle. So I do want to come back to that because I think it was an interesting point. But before we get there, Lauren, is what Tom Bower is saying about actually not having the money, not having the resources to do a proper rollout of this As Ever brand, what you are also hearing?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with what he's saying. And I did some research into this wine as well. And it's really interesting. It's not listed on the website of the place that worked with Meghan on it, which I thought was interesting. And it made me think she wants to be seen as being, the curator and, discovering a new rosé. It's not a new rosé. It's likely that she paid to get X amount of bottles, white labeled and crushed, is my opinion. And then she could have sold 5 bottles for all we know. And then you do the go-to PR strategy, sold out. I've done it so many times with clients. Brands were not selling. So you have to fake it till you make it. You say it's sold out, you start PRing that narrative, and all of a sudden, people within distribution start to get excited, and it's smoke and mirrors. And she does not have the distribution in place to launch a wine brand. If you look at someone like Kylie Minogue, Kylie has been working on this for years. She is so heavily involved. I know people that work with her. She's an absolute delight and is across everything with her brand. I don't believe that Meghan Markle is an expert in grapes.
No, she's definitely not. And then what I loved was all of the spin, like, oh, but she tried lots of different versions of this. The problem is she rushes everything, because when she did that interview with Tina Knowles on her own podcast, she made it absolutely clear that it would be a failure if she had to continue with what is described as a scarcity strategy, right? Which is when you put something up for sale and then the products immediately go, which means everyone's just annoyed because they either don't get the product. But then literally within weeks, she's doing exactly the same thing. So yeah, I totally agree that there's huge fundamental issues with the setup of this business. Then can we talk about Harry? Because
just quickly,
yes,
my
please, come
bet
in.
on her, I think with her rosé, she will strike a deal with Soho House and get her rosé into every Soho house. That would be the best thing that she could do. And I'll give her that advice for free right now, because otherwise it's going to tank. And we know that the Lady A wine was the rosé she loved at Soho House. So unless they're trying to be clever and getting it into somewhere like there for distribution, I don't see it working, because they don't even ship outside of the US.
No, exactly. And I mean, it would be so embarrassing for her if actually all roads in the end led back to Soho House, which, remember, she spent so many years trying to get away from. But when it comes to Harry, there's now a feeling that he's a one-trick pony and that all he can do is sort of replicate things that he's done in the past, specifically things that have a link to his dead mother. So this is what Jobson and Bauer have to say, and then we'll discuss on the back.